Yeah, settle in. I'll share some music here. Let me know if you can hear this okay. Right, to close your eyes if that feels right. Find your feet firmly on the floor. Aligned with our knees and our hips. Now pull back your shoulders. Be upright. Get them aligned with your hips. Feel that spine. I feel that spine. Strong and straight. Spine is bridge that connects us from heaven to earth. Tuck in your chins at the top of your head. Alignment. That crown of your head opening up to the crown. Of the heavens. Strong posture. Our energy can flow more freely through our subtle channels. Now a little bit deeper in this meditative mode of stillness, of timelessness, of presence. We're going to begin with a full belly breath. Oh, wait. We're going to do this by taking in oxygen and prana. Via our nose, fully extending our diaphragm, letting that diaphragm go all the way out as that breath comes in, letting the air into each section of our lungs. Feel our lungs filling up and holding there. And then fully exhaling through our mouth, each section of the lungs, releasing the diaphragm. We're going to do a couple of rounds of this breathing here together to practice. So again, breathe in through your nose, take in air by expanding your diaphragm. Continue to let the air fill each section of your lungs. 8. Hold in your lungs. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And exhale fully. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Repeat. Inhale. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hold. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And exhale fully. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Continue breathing in this pattern. Inhaling. Holding. Exhaling. you listen to this journey of awakening. So we are now spiritually entangled with each other here in this biofield. Recall our roots, which have grown deep into the earth and solidly ground us. We've quieted our fears, and we feel secure in our ability to be here, to have shelter, food, water, comfort of those that we know in family, either biological or chosen. Love and support are always there for us, whether in flesh or in spirit. Breathe in the comfort of it. Feel its steadfastness. Feel your rootedness. Know that we are beloved by the divine and we have been chosen for this journey. Breathe in. Physical life sustained by the intake of oxygen and spiritual life activated by the intake of prana. And divinely blessed by those persons who have appeared in our lives, opened doors of experiences, shared our highs and lows. Some beings stay forever, others are called away, continue their pathway. We move onward on ours. Our awareness leading us to other creative expressions and endeavors. Our stream ever flowing, ever changing. Know that it's leading us to a landing port that will be brighter, lighter, aligned with our purpose. Awakening to greater awareness of our spiritual nature. That the I am in me exists, and all things have an I am. With capacity to awaken to their full extent. Plants and animals are limited in their patterns, but not us. We have free will. We can choose with power. We're choosing to walk onward. Stay with your breath. Of the third chakra. Feel the energies increase and expand. I acknowledge that it is I who respond to life's happenings. It is I who played a role in shining light on what now needs to change. And it is I who can guide the change in direction and expression. If I choose to follow the path of awakening, I will have to be broken. My ego will have to be set aside, and I will have to tune into my purpose, what I came to learn and what I came to give. Breathe. Pull in that energy. Stoke up your fire with that breath. In your belly and your diaphragm, and with that heat, let's move upward, upward. Continue to breathe. 2 more rounds. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Hold. Exhale. it there. Feel the warmth in our body. Exhale. A little bit of time when you're ready. Open your eyes and come back together. You wiggle your feet, your hands, if that feels right. Look who we welcomed. We got Stephen.
Hey, sorry I'm late.
Stephen felt the fire, joined us at campsite. Welcome, Stephen. Yeah, beautiful. Yeah. Okay, Granny J, over to you. You're muted though. Oh wait, you know what? I think I actually muted you. Here, wait. Hold on, Granny J. There.
That good?
Yes.
Okay.
We didn't hear anything you just said, so please start again.
Okay. Well, I said, let's have a little drum roll because we're going to start this journey to the third chakra, Manipura. Yeah. Are you all sort of awake? I don't know about you. I sort of went out a little bit. Okay. So in our first
Come on back.
yeah. In our first chakra, we secured a very safe and supportive habitation, and we learned how to really ground ourselves. It provides us a very solid, stable base on the good old earth. And from that kind of space, you can begin to create some farms, some patterned farms. Then we moved up into the awareness of our second chakra, and we found ourselves in a constantly changing and moving as if we were flowing in the stream of our life. And as a result, we became aware of all the differences of the polarities, and we learned to begin to manage dualities because we became aware that not everything is the same. There are dualities. We also learned that there is a pleasure principle, and we explored that. And we learned that we need to value pleasure, that our life is supposed to have joy in it and happiness in it. We looked at sexuality and the differences were explored, and we realized that sexuality brings a lot of pleasure. And we had well, maybe I should rephrase that. It can bring a lot of pleasure. It can also bring a lot of pain at times. But in the end, that can be resolved and feel the pleasure of it. And we've had our first taste of the spirit world because we looked at some sentiments. And we've been working on this biofield, and you need to keep thinking of your biofield, and when you're out among people and you feel safe, expand it out and feel their biofield, feel where they're comfortable with you being. With Italians, they're very comfortable if you're right up in their face. But we Germans use handshakes, so we're very comfortable at a handshake away. And you have to learn the people's comfort levels, but in the end, we're all one. So we do want to learn to handle our biofield and express it the way we want it to be expressed. So from this firm earthly base and then moving down through the water and having all the differences that are apparent in our life, we're being pulled upward now into this third chakra. It's located between your belly button and the solar plexus. It sits over your adrenal glands, and it's here that we discover that when matter and movement are put together, to get a spark that can ignite this third energetic state. So we're going to meet our fire. We're going to turn on our fire, just ignite it. And when we do that, our own personal will is going to increase, as well as our determination to achieve whatever goal that we set out there that we want to achieve. As long as it isn't harmful to others, as long as it is in a spirit of love and compassion. At the physical level, this relates to the passive elements of the earth and water and changing that into a dynamic energy and power. At the spiritual level, this is called transformation. So this is a stage where transformation is a possibility, and it all determines on lighting up that fire. Earth and water are passive and they flow downward. They following down with gravity, following gravity. And when we move upward, we get some resistance, but fire is going to be moving upward. And as you know, fire destroys form. You can have a building, it catches on fire, and the form is gone. So fire is going to burn up some of the forms that no longer are useful to you. This takes the energy of matter to a new dimension. It takes it to the dimension of both heat and light. So let's listen to that particular paragraph again. Amy, would you read that last paragraph again? Because that's sort of the heart of this third chakra.
It's big. Earth and water are passive and they flow downward, following gravity in the path of least resistance. By contrast, fire moves upward, destroying form. This takes the energy of matter to a new dimension, to heat and to light. This is choice. That's what I feel. Power and choice. Do you want me to keep going here, Granny J?
Yep, you'll keep going.
Okay. So it is through our will that we liberate ourselves from fixed behavior and thought patterns. So for example, if you remember when we were working with the second chakra and those archetypal patterns, we can be aware of those, and this is where we get to choose. You know, the feelings that we have and those emotions that were so strong and moving so fiercely in that second chakra, we can choose. The feelings don't get to determine, you know, they don't get to drive the boat. Our will directs us away from the path of least resistance, those patterns and the expectations of others. So this is a hard look at our culture, or rather cultures in which we reside. And there's a price to pay in stepping out on our own. However, this is the step needed to begin our transformation. This is the process of growing up. So here's the process. We deliberately overcome inertia. And in physics, inertia means something that is stationary, static, it's not moving until some other force acts upon it, until there's fire, until there's that catalyst. In behavioral science, it's overcoming personal resistance to see or understand what is happening, and then to make a decision or a choice. Lastly, having the will to change. So it is our will to change that holds and moves and directs our action, which shapes the world in which we live. Once the fire of our will gets burning and is on fire, for me, it's like I'm feeling like, you know, that fire is passion. We only have to keep it stoked to keep the movement going. Our movement will interact with others and produces new combinations, and it is fire which ignites and transforms. So the chakras are interdependent aspects of a unified.
Yes, the chakras are interdependent of a unified field of consciousness. So that our biofield is what we're talking about here. It's a unified field of consciousness. And as we increase our consciousness and awareness of it, then it is more unified and will serve you better in helping you to make choices and then carrying them out. Mass, movement, and energy, the mass of something, which is, mass is not the pull of gravity, it's not weight. Mass is determined by what kind of atoms make up something. The movement of that and the energy are all three inseparable qualities of our physical world. Hence, in chakra 1, earth is its physicality is affected by gravity, and it's always pulling us downward, keeping us in place. It takes more energy to move out of that place when we're there. In chakra 2, we had this watery, changing relationships, and we were just flowing along, and energy was being used up, and we sort of had this perpetual emotional energy that was taking place, and we had to learn how to manage that. In chakra 3, where our fire energy of will, self-esteem, they're inseparably intertwined. So how you feel about yourself and your will, your desire, what it is that you want, they're intertwined. Using the fire energy of will to transform us by electing to change that which no longer serves us. So part of the problem is finding what is, recognizing, I should really say, what no longer serves us. And once recognized, then having that will and the energy, fire energy, to change. How energy alone is not power. It must be directed energy to have power. So there could be something that you find you want to change, and if you just direct energy at it, not too much is going to happen. Most of it's going to bounce off. But if you direct it and make it a laser point, it will be changed. There's no question about this. These gravity and emotion and beliefs regulate our world and our bodies. Gravity, emotions, and beliefs regulate our world and our bodies. However, energy alone is not power. It has to have that directed energy, okay? It is one's conscious downward energy of manifesting that guides the production of form. Simultaneously, it's one's ascending energy of liberation consciousness that provides the energy to do so. And you got to have both of those in order to have power. If you're going to manifest it, you're going to have that conscious energy coming up with that creative power to do it, or to even know what it is that you want to manifest. To enter this chakra, one has to embrace one's needs and integrate bodily energy with conscious intelligence. So now we're putting the physical, and we're beginning to pull down from the upper chakras more of our conscious intelligence. Mm-hmm. I think Amy and I keep finding that the guides keep pointing us wherever it is we're supposed to do, because we're ever saying we're going to do this, and the next thing we know, we get a message saying, no, not that. You're supposed to be doing this. So we're finding that the guides a lot of times is part of our conscious intelligence. And so the result of all of this is your transformation. Mm-hmm. That's big.
Yeah. And I'm wanting to say here, particularly as you talk about Grady J pulling down from the upper chakras, this is where, when we're in alignment, our personal will is in alignment with divine will. And so I'm just wanting to speak to that. We'll just put a little pin in that because there'll be more on that later. But for now, let's get down to a few specifics. So it's the, what do you say, Jen? Yeah, the ability to listen to the guides and the divinity within, part of this power. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you all beginning to hear your guides? Let's see, you shake your head, yes or no. Some of you don't know. Okay. Keep listening for them because they're beginning to get more activated. Okay. That's a little quiet voice or the hesitation. You start to do this and you hesitate and you do something else. That's your guide.
Is that what you call a gut feeling?
Yeah, gut feeling. Same thing. You have a gut feeling this is what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, and it's very connected to this chakra actually. So we're gonna, this is actually right where we're going, Marcia. So it's the butterfly feelings that bring our energy up and awaken us. But we must be grounded for this to occur. Ungroundedness or a lack of being grounded leads to ineffective activity. We're kind of all over the place, very distracted, lots of noise. Um, all major nadis are believed to arise from the navel. So there's a reason that we say gut instinct. This
Yeah,
chakra is,
let me remind them what the nadis are like nerves, except they're in subtle nerves. They're in the subtle world, not in the physical world. They are much, 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 much more minute. Remember how very, very small they are. We have 72,000 of them. Pardon me. Thank you, Amy.
no, I'm just letting that sink in. It's so interesting when we do all this work with the bodies and the chakras to think of it still in terms of our physical body, but this is in terms of, remember, the spiritual body and even the subtle body. And so that's what we're speaking to here. So all of these major nadis are believed to arise from the navel. And this chakra is responsible for metabolic energy. So this is again where that fire is. This chakra's element is fire. Whereas if you remember, root was earth, the second chakra was water. And so now again, we're moving into fire. And it's fire that transforms and metabolizes, giving us energy to do. And so the birthright of this chakra is to do, to act. You can tell the health of your third chakra by actually looking at that area of your body. This is pretty true in all of it, but is this particular area your kind of your gut right there at your belly button? Is it shapely? In which case that means wisely used power. Or is it expanded in meaning excessive power? Or is it contracted, meaning it's free and absent of power? Pay attention because our bodies do reflect what's happening spiritually. Fire gives us vitality and connection, enabling us to be transformers, and its absence yields a coldness of control and domination. So when we withdraw from life, we become a closed system. Gosh, I was literally just saying this to a couple of my clients today. It is necessary to be within the activities of life so that our fire can be fed, giving us a zest for living. So if we're not grounded to the earth,
that's important. That's an important thing because a lot of times when we don't quite know what to do, we're sort of lost our way. We isolate ourselves, and that's a good thing for a period of time. But you can't get your fire turned out back on or know what it is you want to do without getting back outside where all the noise is, and you're trying to make. You have to have that other stimuli to push you in the direction in which you need to go or you want to go, but you don't know it yet. Excuse me, Amy.
No, yeah, it's like energy feeds energy.
Yeah.
So if we're not grounded to the earth, letting our passions and pleasures flow, we have little fuel for our fire. If we're not connected to spirit, there's no spark of light for our fire. If we're not centered, we see power outside of ourselves. So it's what we have around us that enables us to connect and nourish ourselves. And it's our self-esteem that strengthens our will and makes it effective. In this way, we can focus our life on that which we love, which ignites us, brings us to life, which challenges us, and that which renews us. The development and integration of the third chakra achieves this.
Right. So let's take a closer look at power. Power is not a property, it's a process. And the power that I'm referring to is our personal directed power. Our personal directed power. We find again in our culture that it's evolved an educational system that teaches and rewards powerlessness. Wow, I thought about that a lot, Marcia. And what do you get from this? You get conformity and easily controlled robots. So if you just think of the classrooms, in order to get something done, you had to have order and control. But you can go so far that everyone in that classroom, they're just there as a robot doing what they have to do to get through it. Yeah. They're not really involved in acquiring information in an intellectual way and making use of it. So if you notice, when you get in a crowded area and you turn a corner, you're going to go to the right side and walk down the right side, and the other people all walking on their right side, right? We've been trained to walk that way. We've been trained to drive that way. All of that are sort of control mechanisms of our society. And in some ways, that affects our third chakra, okay? So what do you lose if you do that? Well, you lose a lot of creativity, and you lose a lot of the visionary people, visionary thinkers, because the visionary thinkers don't come up with an idea just like that and make money for you. They a lot of times they spend a lifetime coming up with their vision, and we're not very supportive of those kinds of people. We lose a lot of doers, and that's why we have a lot of people who are pretty comfortable sitting there doing nothing in their life and doing the minimal just to get by. So this is one of the pushes and pulls of life. When you have a large group of people, there needs to be some expected order and movement, so there is it feels safe and you feel protected within it, and it's predictable. And we have to somehow get over this bit that what life is about is a competition. Life is not about a competition, it's about a collaboration. Our grading system, for example, is based on a normal curve, which is what you get if you do absolutely no effort in teaching anyone anything. You get a normal curve. If they would just come in there and spend the time and then you give them a lesson, you're going to get a normal curve. Well, if you teach them something, you better get a skewed curve, because that's what you should get. But our grading system will take that skewed curve and make it into a normal curve. So those are some of the things that society has, I kind of say, trained us to look at the world in that kind of way. Indeed, we need this safe, cooperative, and predictable environment somehow or other. We need these creative people, but not at the price of domination and submission. And we're seeing a lot of the effort to dominate and have people submit right now. And I'm sure your third chakra is pushing against that. So these cripple our sense of power and our will, and they damage our self-esteem. It is crucial that we sort of re-examine the concept of power. Power over destroys. We need to develop the power to do, the power to carry out something you want to carry out. At this time in our history, both here and in the States, around the world, people are grappling with this concept of power. A few people are making decisions for millions, and through thousands of years, the disease of power and control has remained in charge. And actually, to the extent that right now our planet is threatened. Marcia and I just got through reading a book called Global Heart Awakening. We finished it, the last chapter today. She was driving a car, and that book is talking about the history of mankind and this whole concept of power and control, domination, particularly by the masculine energy and the submissive expectation of the women, and using power to control one way or the others. Both cultures and individuals simultaneously needs to have power, not one at the expense of the other. If we look to nature, we see that cooperation, not individuality, is the guiding principle. The chakra system demonstrates that power results from combining and integrating rather than fighting and dominating. Each chakra level develops from a combination of those below it. So because we went through the first and second chakra, we can now develop our third chakra. It is their activation by the descending current, the consciousness bringing up an understanding at each of the levels. Power came down from unity and wholeness. The survival of our planet is dependent upon our ability to combine diversity and make something new out of the whole. Both the evolution and the chakra system is a constant process of reorganization. I mean, evolution doesn't have a set pattern. Evolution adjusts to what's there. And that which can survive is the parents of the next generation. As we grow toward a greater understanding of consciousness and the spiritual world, we will evolve our concept of power. This will come from our very core, our roots and our gut, as well as our visions, our creativity, and our intelligence. Our very planet future really depends upon having more people with greater consciousness.
Yeah, I'm just taking a beat
Yeah.
because we've really dropped quite a load. So what we're talking about here, just inviting us to feel into this truly, like actually feel into your gut, feel into your bodies. What we're talking about naming here is a divine power. It's not the kind of power that we've been conditioned to know, the power that exists outside of ourselves. We're talking about a power that is within us and that will help us create the world that we dream of, a more loving world.
The Garden of Eden.
Yeah, right. The beloved community, kingdom of God, this is what we're talking about. So this is the importance of this power. It's like the truth of who we are is right here. That's the gut. That's what we're talking about. So tapping into that, and that's what we're going to be working with this summer. So we're going to just take a break. Yeah, Jen, we were going to take a little bit of time to get into some breakout rooms. You want to say something before we do that?
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to see if we could just like popcorn, or if you guys can give a couple examples of what this being in this power feels like in these moments of discernment, because I really feel like I'm beginning to know it more and more. But I think that we live in a world, like you're saying, right? It's so conditioned that being in positions of formal power, and it can overlap too, right? But it looks really different. It feels really different in your to be really in this chakra and really claim it. Like, I'm very curious of if you guys can give examples of what that's felt like for you, you know, and anyone, not just you and Granny J.
Yeah, Carla?
I think for me, I feel it especially strong when I'm I'm at a discernment point, and it can be about anything, you know. Um, it can be, you know, particularly, you know, in work situations. I think of this, and I think, you know, and I have people trying to, you know, help me make the decision or providing impact, and you kind of come to this point where you think you have the answer, and this just strong urging that that's not the way to go. And when I've not paid attention to that, it has almost always ended up being the wrong decision. And I don't feel it so much telling me that's the right decision, but telling me when I'm headed down a path that is just the wrong way to go. And what I'm excited about with this is to examine that a little, you know, to examine that more. And I think that it does have to do with power. I think it has to do with, you know, feeling that strong gut where power's being used or abused. You know, like for example, you're in a position where, you know, you you have power because of the position, and if you go a certain direction, it could be the strong message to not do that, almost uh, overturning the use of a power that's not going to be loving, collaborative, and cooperative. That's how I felt it.
Yeah. In a personal situation, it is being cognizant of the other person and the other person's perception. And you can look at that and understand that, and you ask enough questions that you really think you get the picture. Then you have to look at yourself. How is it that you really feel? What are your needs? You know, what are their needs? But you have to look at your needs. A lot of times we accept the other person's needs and never take a look at ours, or we cover them up and we don't do it. And in the third chakra, we're asking that in any situation that you take time and look at your needs, because we each have needs. We each have rights.
That's really helpful. I appreciate that, both the discernment, because I think what I've learned is a lot of times our perception of what somebody else needs or what we think they need is often it's just a problem, you know. It's not helpful. We can only tune into ourselves, right? We can only tune into our own divinity, our own heart's desire. And so I think that is a really helpful guidance. When I can get clear on that, I usually find that that's what's best in general then. So for them too, because I'm operating from an honest and clear place.
Yeah, from your gut.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think these are the questions that we want to feel into, you know, as we play with this chakra and tune into it. How do we know what is true for us, and how do we choose? You know, so for me, this is the power, literally, of this chakra. It is the opportunity to choose. And when you think about the patterns and the conditioning that we've experienced, what it takes to interrupt and break those patterns, it takes a lot. It takes a lot. I mean, good God, you know, I've been working with the same patterns my whole life, trying to heal some of these patterns, right? And that's the whole gig. And so I think feeling whatever it is, that nudge, that knocking at the door of like, oh, something's here, pay attention to it. Let's just really play. I want to invite a relationship of play, because the demon of this chakra is shame. And so I think it's really important to know that. So this is not a time to judge and think that we're going to get it right or wrong. It's not that. It can't be that. The only thing that will change and transform is love. So it's more of just watching ourselves and watch what we choose. And then hold that with love and compassion. No shame. That's not going to change any pattern.
Yeah, I think you have to remember you are a beloved being. You are beloved of God.
Mhm.
And you have to feel that within your gut and hold that there and act from that point. And if you think of communion, what they do at communion, they take the host, they bless it, and they break it. Now, we all know about the breaking part, but then we come to realize who we are, we're beloved, and we know what we want, and we're able to then give. Henry Nouwen has a book on that if you want to read about that. I think they need to have some conversation with their buddies for maybe 10 minutes. Yeah.
We'll just do a quick little touch base here. So we'll do like 8 minutes, and then we'll come back for a quick checkout. But I've got you in groups of 3. And so just, take a pulse, share what has landed, what questions are up for you. Maybe use it as a time to listen and clarify whatever is moving in you. We'll see you back here in 8. Welcome back, everybody. So, anything that feels vital to share to the whole group from a couple of you?
Our group I felt like we had a similar theme of questions, or sitting with like the discernment between, is this voice or this pang or information the voice of my intuition and divinity guide, or is it fear, anxiety, conditioning, delusion?
Or ego, maybe.
Or ego, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good question.
I think what I would offer in response, and of course all of us, like, let's play and like let's actually, pay attention to this, but what is the difference between the two? Energetically, they feel very different. They feel very different. And the more you pay attention, you'll start to be able to distinguish, oh, yeah.
I was just going to say, Daniel spoke to, in our group, a couple things that help with his discernment that resonated around, like, just observing what is, that what isness, because there's just, when you're like, there's such a clarity there, or there's such an alignment there, that you're not like, there's no doubt, right? Like what is clear, because you might be asking something that is like, you're not clear on it, but what piece of it is like, okay, I'm so clear about this fragment, right? That really resonated. And then also he spoke like allowing the flow to come to me rather than trying to force anything, really seeing like what is already kind of in flow. So I really appreciated those two, Daniel.
Anything else? Well, let's close with a happy birthday song.
Happy birthday song.
Yes.
Anybody want to start us?
Happy
birthday
to
to
you.
Happy birthday
to you.
Happy
Happy
birthday,
dear Granny Jay.
Happy
Happy
birthday
to
to
you.
Thank you, thank you. I'm pretty
Happy
excited.
Sherman.
Riley's in on the birthday.
Yeah.
When to sing.
We'll have
What
Mary
is
take some.
happening?
We'll have Marcia take some pictures and send so you get a sense of it.
Oh, I'd
All
love
right.
that.
Yeah, Marcia loves to get her camera out and shoot, so I imagine she'll have it out and about. So, Marcia, will you do that?
I will.
All right, we've
All
got
right.
Yes, on pictures.
so all of you will
I
feel like
didn't know
you're
you two
there.
were together, and I
Be on-
was so
be on
confused
your
for a
best
second.
behavior.
We're gonna
my
give
God.
our heart away, Granny Jay.
Thanks. Yeah,
Yeah.
gonna be a great party.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, everybody. Take good care. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Blessings.
Yeah.
Bye.
Hi, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.